So while they're getting Doug's presentation ready, I'll just read his quick bio. So Doug grew up on a dairy farm in southern England until he was 10. He then moved with his family, his parents and his sister, to Hamiota, where his parents purchased a grain farm. Doug attended Assiniboine Community College and studied business administration with a focus on accounting. After college, he worked for a local ag manufacturing company in quality control, followed by product design, and lastly in a management role. In late 2005, Doug, along with his parents, Richard and Annette Arnold, formed Arnold Innovations. In 2017, Doug left his job to work for their company full-time.
All right, can everybody hear me all right? So as said, my name is Doug Arnold. I'm one of the founding partners of Arnold Innovations, and my current role is the managing partner. So I've been asked to speak about what it is to run a successful business from a farm shop. So that's kind of my day-to-day life. So I'm going to just share a little bit about what we've done, what we've found successful, and kind of lay a little bit of a roadmap for others if they want to follow suit. So overview, I'm going to talk about 4 major points today. The first one is how to think big when you're still small. The second is how to build a brand. The third is how building relationships are important. And lastly, I'm going to speak a little bit on how to maximize your time and space. So first, how to think big when you're still small. This might seem like a weird concept or trying to put the cart before the horse, but it's just a little bit of an out-of-the-box way of thinking. So it doesn't really matter how big your shop is, how elaborate your facilities are. What people see is the face of the company. So it's very much on how you present yourself. So when I started Arnold Innovations along with my parents, how we presented ourselves at trade shows, at dealer meetings, all of those things were very important to me. So I wanted to present a kind of a corporate feel, a professional feel, because these larger companies that we are dealing with are used to that. So it's kind of just making yourself look as presentable as possible and putting your best foot forward. Next is how does the product itself present itself? So this can come down to the way it's shown at a trade show or at a dealer, and even down to the small things on how it's packaged. So making sure everything is clean and tidy and in the best possible look to present itself well. Next would be like how do your marketing materials present themselves? So when I created our flyers and when we've worked on our website and on our social media, I try to keep a common theme through all of our marketing, and that speaks to the brand, which I will get into, but things like just even using the same font, logo placements, all of those things make that establishment of familiarity and keeping things consistent. So that's one thing that we have focused on. Next is establishing your core company values and goals. So what is your company about? What does it believe in? So our company, for example, we're dedicated to building productive, efficient, safe products that really add value to our consumers. And our focus right now is in the ag sector and doing that. And that goes into our goals. So our goals is to be a problem solver, to look at situations and listen to the market and what's giving people the most aggro, and that's been overlooked by maybe some of the bigger manufacturers or a service industry or whatever it may be, and how we can come up with a solution to those problems. Finally, always be open and adaptive. So in business, it's great there's no such thing as a bad idea. It might not be the right idea for you at that point in time. So it's always good to listen to it and adapt from that. And being adaptive, the way you did it day one might not work at week 4. It might not work at year 1, it might not work at year 3, so don't be so stuck in doing things the way you have done all along, because it can hinder growth sometimes. So that's thinking big when you're still small. Next, I'd like to speak on how to build a brand. So as I spoke, I had quite a vision when Arnold Innovation was launched on what I wanted things to look like. And that started with the logo design, so I did a fair bit of research just on it alone, on what makes a good logo. So there's kind of 3 major points on what makes a great logo. A, it's easy to read. B, it translates into a thumb logo. And C, it's usually 2 or 3 colors at the most. So I chose a very simple, easy to use font, has a shadow behind it, has a little bit of interest between the way the A and the I line up, and that transfers again into a thumb logo as I spoke. Next, company colors. So we deal in the, primarily with OEM equipment, so John Deere, Claus, New Holland. So when I picked my colors, I wanted to be neutral. So I didn't want to have a green product and people with New Holland Combine not want to buy it just because it's green. So that's why we stuck to the neutral stuff. A lot of white, black, and gray is our colors, and then it complements those other colors. We do actually paint our products the matching color, just so it's a nice fit with the equipment. Marketing materials. So as I spoke, it's that creating that continuity between them all. So the flow is the same. As an example of our flyer there, we place our logo in the same spot on every flyer. They're formatted the same. The fonts follow the same kind of format. And that will match into our website and even on what we're doing posts on social media and those sorts of things. And then if you look at our trade show booth here, that sort of our brand is very present there. So all of our reversers sit on white stands. Our backdrop is shown there. There's continuity between fonts and placements and all those sorts of things. So very much in establishing what Arnold Innovations looks like as a brand. This is probably the most important thing I'm going to speak about today, and that's how building relationships are important. So business is all about relationships, and that's relationships primarily and most importantly is with our customers. So as a small business, a lot of our customers are end users, so grain producers. We do sell to some dealerships, so some dealerships are our customers. And the most important thing that we pride ourselves in to our customers is, A, we provide a good quality product. We try to do that at a reasonable price. And then we really focus on customer service. So as a small business, myself or my dad field most of the quality concern calls. So if there's any problems with installations or a problem with the product after the fact, they want to take advantage of a warranty or any of those things, we make sure that that is taken care of. And at the end of the day, that angry phone call is turned around, and we've come to a solution that works, and everybody can go about their day, and the customer is taken care of. Other important relationships to build are suppliers. Excuse me. I wouldn't be able to do what I do without the suppliers I have. So I have some really, really good suppliers. We've had our bumps in the road, and we've had to come to agreements and conflict and discussion, but that's all part of business and building that relationship. So finding the right people to work with to help you build your product is just as important as building relationships on how to sell the product. So that's something that we've worked hard to establish and continue to work with. Other partnerships as business partners in other capacities. So we've just recently started to work with a business consulting firm and helping us to analyze what we're doing well in the business, what we can do better, and how do we keep growing. So they're a huge resource, and there's something that it's got to be a right fit. So we're really excited about doing that this year and how that's going to work. Other business partners, like we work with a marketing firm as well, so that helps us do a lot of online advertising. I heard the last presenter speak about it. Yeah, I get the same marketing calls from 15 different companies every week trying to sell me by the click, geofencing, whatever it may be. But we have made a commitment to a company, and it took me about 3 months of analyzing what everybody had to offer and talking to references and all of those things to make an educated decision, because that's the way we all view our information now. So there's a huge marketing potential through seeing ads on your cell phone or on your tablet or on your computer that's relevant to your everyday life. So that helps get traffic to the website, and you guys can learn more about our products. So, and then finally, aligning companies. So we've shared resources and done work with other similar small manufacturers where we've found a fit, and we help each other out in terms of bouncing ideas and being a soundboard to one another, as well as right down to like traveling costs to go to trade shows, for example, and it's just a mutually beneficial thing when you're starting out to help cut costs and be able to get your product in front of more people and help both sides of the coin. So that's definitely something we've done. Last point I'm going to speak to is how to maximize your time and your space. So what's key to that is, I think, is building systems. So if it's a matter of, for example, just in the manufacturing process, like we assemble all our units in-house. So one of the first things we did was, what's the easiest way to put this together? Does this work? And do a little bit of reflection on it and make changes and put parts and hardware and tools in place in the right positions that it makes you efficient. And that becomes even more present when you work out of a very small space. A lot of you would be really shocked to see what our manufacturing facility looks like. It's about the size of a single car garage and a 40-foot sea can. But that helps us. It helps us keep our costs down, but by building that system, we can maximize that space. Another thing is prioritize. So as a self-employed person who is starting running their business, my time is spread in every which direction. So I really have to focus on what's important today, what's important this hour, what's important this week, what's important this month, and set goals and keep myself accountable to that and stay on track, which I do struggle with at times, but I really value the importance of trying to prioritize yourself. And then that rolls into the next thing is knowing your role. So my role as a managing partner kind of is such a blanketing role. I'm involved in everything from, as I said, the actual manufacturing process to sales to being the purchaser, being the marketer, being the face of the company, all of those things. So as we grow, I'm really trying to establish what I'm good at and where I'm going to be most beneficial to Arnold Innovations. And that's not something I've 100% figured out yet, but knowing the fact that I need to kind of define myself and where I'm going to be, I value as being a very important thing. And that speaks into knowing where you are most valuable, and And there's a list of things I do every day that so many people can do, and then there's a list of things that I do that right now I only know how to do. So as we grow, it's going to be on me to put those systems in place to teach others and to utilize other people to keep growing and to maximize what the company can do. Yeah, so that is kind of what I got here. Is there any comments or questions? I kind of blew through that pretty quickly. Yep. What about this? Sorry, what was your question about?
I've often wondered about hiring efficiency consultants. They're worth their while?
Well, I can speak like to the business company or growth company that I've hired has definitely been beneficial, and we're just kind of starting out with them. What I would say is make sure you have clear expectations of what you want them to accomplish and have them be accountable in some way. So, and get that in writing, right? Like get that as a contract so you know what they're going to do. Don't just have someone come and say, yeah, I can make you more efficient without giving you a roadmap or some inclination of what they can do, and then ask for references too on situations where they've done it in the past, right? Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Per.
The name of the company that you have hired is?
It's Siri. Yeah, they're out of Brandon here too. Yeah. Is there any more questions?
What's the biggest challenge you saw?
The biggest challenge I couldn't have saw is what do you do when you have your first bad month? I guess that would be my biggest thing. And I don't have an answer other than to keep being resilient and keeping your head up. And part of life is failing, right? So missing goals, having that first bad month, what are you going to do to correct that? And try not have that turn into your first bad year or put you down. And even if it does, just really kind of take a step back and analyze what you're doing and what you can do better. Anybody else? Can you just say the question?
Oh, I just wonder if you find financing difficult in this province for new businesses.
Yeah, I will speak to that. So we self-financed our business. So, and I say self-financed, my parents put up the capital. And that was $10,000, and that was our initial investment. And they were very much prepared to lose that money if that all fell on its face, right? But because it wasn't my money, I was very driven to see this company succeed, and I actually returned. My goal was to have it back in the first year, and I had it back in the first 90 days. So we didn't really have to raise too much capital, which was kind of an advantage for us. Also, we started in late 2015, and I didn't leave my full-time job till early 2017. So one way to not need money is not take money. So I didn't take anything out of that company for a paycheck, nothing for 14 months. So I worked the 80, 100-hour work weeks, just because we didn't have that startup capital. Other things we did was build to order. We didn't keep inventory right away. We took some of our admin stuff and did it over 12-month payments to try and help cash flow. All of those things. So I can't really speak to it personally we did have a heck of a time when we went to secure a line of credit, I'll tell you that. I dealt with that last year. As a new company, it's a hard thing to do. Everybody wants two years of fiscal books, and then they want pretty well bricks and mortar to secure said loan. So it is a challenge. We did secure funding. It took a lot of process and a lot of no's and a lot of deals that I wouldn't take, but it is possible. I know that there is federal funding. I went to a informational thing about it in Winnipeg, that the federal government does some money. The thing with it is a loan. It's not a bursary or anything like that, and the scope of the project has to be quite large. So starting a small business, you're really just gonna have to kind of put your shirt in the game one way or another, I think. Anybody else? Yeah, okay. I would say utilize your personal network. So a lot of my suppliers I got from my previous job and knowing them and having personal relationships, but maybe you haven't worked in manufacturing, but maybe you know somebody, right? So if you can get any kind of personal reference from somebody, that's gonna stand up better than anything you read or anybody that salesman tells you, right? Even if it's your wife's cousin's brother-in-law that does something, if he puts his name to it, that these guys are honest and they provide a good product at a good price, you're probably more likely to give them a shot. Also, I would say, like, I started local with my suppliers to see if there was local businesses that were able to be there for me in the beginning and start things out, especially when you don't have volume. It's easy enough to go in and talk to somebody and have that person and start to build that personal relationship. As I spoke to, suppliers are just as much a relationship as customers. So does that kind of answer your question? Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Let's say with setting goals, what time frame did you give yourself? Let's say we're starting a new business, you have goals, and what time frame have you got in your mind it would take to
achieve those?
Yeah.
So the question was, what time frame do you give yourself on setting goals? So I set different goals for different time frames, I guess. So I'll set goals on what I need to accomplish this week, goals on what I need to accomplish this month, goals I need to accomplish this quarter, and goals I want to accomplish this year and 5 years from now. That they can be realistic and achievable. I don't always hit all my goals, but I put the maximum effort into trying to achieve those.
So what you say, you didn't put much of your money down. You kind of build your business as you go, right?
Yeah.
That's much harder, isn't it?
What his question was saying, I didn't put a whole lot of money down. I built my business as I went. Yes, it was harder, but I didn't have the capital to do it any other way. So I put the effort into my time. So instead of my money, I put my time in. And it paid off for me. I'm not saying that that's the only way to do it, but getting some roots into a business and letting it start and flourish and be making money before you draw on it can only be a good thing.
So the way you're doing it, your risks are lower.
Yes. Yeah, everything we did to off the start was to reduce risk. Reduce what we could lose, manage expectations on when stuff was going to be ready. All of those things help minimize our risk. Obviously, as we've grown, we've taken more risks. We carry more inventory. We invest more into our marketing, into other professional fees and things like that. So we are taking more risk now, but we've seen, some some track record, some traction behind the need for our product, so feel more comfortable doing so.
Like your projections, what time frame? Did you work a 5 years or 10 years or what's the window you're working with?
My projections on sales, for example, I will project out my sales by the month. And I will do that for a year, and then I will have the next 2 years past that. If I do these goals, this is what's going to be my goal for the following year, and this will be my goal for 2 years from now. And I adjust those based on actual performance. Does that make sense? Perfect. Is that all you had, sir? Yeah. Is there anybody else? Awesome. Well, thanks all for listening.